Welcome to the October 9th, 2024 full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 6. My name is Sandy McKee and I'm the chair of CB6. This meeting is called to order at 7:01 p.m. Tonight we are joined by Secretary Lydia Rednick, District Manager Jesus Perez, Assistant District Manager Brenda Berg, Community Coordinator Brian Lafferty, also John Keller, who's Vice Chair. As a reminder, New York State law requires all community board members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and the first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Our ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. Please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. It is important that only one person speaks at a time so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said. Please wait until you're in front of the mic to speak. We've heard feedback from attendees that our meetings are hard to hear at times. Definitely if two people are talking and sitting at the same time. The chat function should be used to alert us of any technical difficulties you're having or to state in writing what has already been stated loud on the record during the meeting. Members of the public, if you wish to give remarks during the public session and are not already registered by filling out a form, you can register to speak in the public session on Zoom by using the Q&A feature and posting your name, your affiliation, and what specific topic you wish to speak about. Also, please note if you live in the district. Or if you're here in person and want to speak in the public session, you need to fill out our public speaker form. Brian's pointing out over there. And some other sign-ins for the CB6 newsletter. This needs to be done by 7:15. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office, was posted online, and appears on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, be agreed. Seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. Lydia Shreddick will now take attendance by roll call.
By roll call. Board members, when your name is called, please say present. Majed Abdul Samad.
Present.
Tanya Arias.
Present.
Kyle Thade.
Not coming.
Neil Barkley.
Present.
Martin Barrett.
Present.
Elvie Barroso.
Present.
Jim Collins.
Here.
Jonathan Dorico.
Present.
Stuart Deser.
Present.
Beatrice Disman.
Absent.
Maya Donahue.
Present.
Robert Farfan.
Absent.
Barack Friedman.
Present.
Jason Bromowitz.
Present.
Eric Goldberg. Justin Goldberg.
Present.
Gloria Hage.
Present.
Rabia Iqbal.
Present.
Paige Judge.
Present.
Rupal Kakad.
Present.
John Keller.
Present.
Nadeem Kawani.
Present.
Katie Londa.
Present.
Sandra Leptoff.
She said she would be late.
David Levy.
Not coming.
David Lowenstein. Anton Malner.
Absent.
Sandra McKee.
Present.
Alec Militic.
Present.
Richard Mitz.
Not coming.
Kevin O'Keefe.
Present.
Reshma Patel.
Present.
Stephen Perez.
Present.
Miriam Ralph.
Present.
Michael Yanro.
Present.
Roberto Ruiz Melendez. Lawrence Shayer.
Present.
Anne Seligman.
Here.
Sandro Sharon. Lydia Shrednick, present. Mubin Siddiqui.
Present.
Letty Simon. Susan Steinberg. Mark Thompson.
Present.
Gabriel Churzo.
Present.
James Vera,
Present.
Jerry Weinstein,
Present.
Sarah Whittington, Hader Zeddy,
Present.
The four members of 49 duly present, we have quorum.
The elected officials have sent their reports ahead of time. You can find all of the reports that were submitted on the CD6 website. The link to the reports was also disseminated ahead of time for your convenience and can be found in the chat on Zoom or be going to our website's page for full board meetings. I will now call each of the elected officials who are RSVP'd so they can take questions from CD6 members and the public about their pre-submitted reports. Each elected official will be able to field questions. If there are no questions, we will move to the next elected official on the list. If an elected official has a time-sensitive matter to report on that didn't make it into their pre-submitted report, they will have 3 minutes to do so. All right. During this part of the meeting, we will also hear from government agency representatives who have requested to address the board tonight. Our list of elected officials so far, we have Joanna Sanchez from Assemblymember Harvey Epstein's office.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Please note that Assemblymember Epstein is on his way to be in person in the meeting. He should arrive by 7:15. Thank you.
Great, okay, Peyton? I'm sorry. I'm not gonna pronounce it. Schultes?
Senator Gonzalez is gonna hop on Zoom any minute now.
Okay. All right, not quite there yet. Samuel Aluto from the Public Advocate's Office.
Hello, my name is Samuel Aluto from the Office of the New York City Public Advocate. I'm the Legislative and Policy Associate. I was assigned to this board. In the link to my notes for this month, there's a sign up for the Public Advocate's blog. There's also a QR code there and paper to sign up if you don't have access to a mobile phone. I'm in the back if you have any specific policy questions, and I have my business card as well. And my email is also on the notes that were submitted, if anybody has any specific concerns.
Do we have any questions for the back of the class? That's not, you're right. Justin Flagg from Senator Liz Krueger's office.
All, nothing to add to our report. Happy to take any questions.
No questions for the Senator's office? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Robin Forst from the Mayor's office.
Hello, hi Sandy, hi everyone, how are you? I have a couple of brief updates. As maybe you are aware, the rollout of the first citywide curbside composting program was launched earlier this week. It had started in Queens in 2022, expanded to Brooklyn in 2023, and now in 2024, it is citywide. Food scraps, when they're put in the garbage, apparently turn into emissions in the landfills, and by composting, we get to try to build our renewable energy. So it's a good environmental step. Another thing I wanted to mention is that the mayor, along with the city council, announced a new program to prevent the sale of dangerous batteries and battery-powered micromobility devices. This was a result of legislation that had been introduced by Gail Brewer, and it requires or allows the city to penalize sellers of these dangerous batteries. The city has the authority to padlock stores that continue to sell these, and the penalties are actually pretty stiff. This was a announcement made by the mayor, Adrian Adams, the DCWP commissioner, and also the fire department. So, working further to try to reduce the impact of these batteries, which have caused way too many injuries and deaths. Finally, I wanted to mention that the city received a very strong credit rating once again from major agencies, Moody's, S&P, Fitch, and Kroll, all in the AA category, and this will help advance the sale of bonds, coming up $1.5 billion of general obligation bonds, which will include the third issuance of social bonds, which are used specifically in support of housing programs. So that's it. I know you have a big agenda, so if there are any questions, happy to take them, and if not, happy to listen.
Do we have any questions for the?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yes.
Hi, Robin, Michael Landro. Thank you for coming on. Pertaining to the batteries and this kind of enforcement, what is the game plan, if you will, for that enforcement? When do they start going door to door, if you will, to actually make this happen?
Let me just see if I can quickly see, otherwise I'm going to circle back with you. Yeah, let me circle back. I can do that through Jesus about the specifics of how the program will be rolled out and how penalties will be meted out, including the fines, which are pretty stiff. And, it's a recurring problem, certainly in some areas. We've seen, horrible results. And apparently there's it's kind of easy to fudge the system, and this legislation will hopefully change that so that we have safer bikes and safer batteries. So I will get back. Okay.
And the other part too is just when you say the city, who, in terms of that, is it some kind of task force team that will do this?
It's gonna be I think NYPD and DCP will be doing the enforcement. It might be FDNY too. I'm not sure that that it won't include a larger group, because people in those agencies are in businesses all the time for various issues. And if something is brought to the attention of the city, 311, or some other mechanism through an elected official, I'm sure that one of those agencies will be dispatched, but the city will have the power to padlock the businesses. So that might be NYPD, but I will check on that.
Thank you very
This
much.
is just passed today, so I'm not as familiar with it. So anyway, thank you.
Marty has a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't mind waiting.
TV6 have been inundated with the illegal pot shops, and I know the mayor, when he speaks, he has a sign saying, I think the last one I said, 800.
I'm having a hard time understanding you. Can you?
Oh, is
Yes,
it
sorry.
there?
Okay,
Okay.
try again.
TV6 have been inundated with illegal pot shops.
Yes,
I know that the mayor has done a great job in
closing the illegal shops. Yeah.
It showed about 840 had been closed. Is there plans insofar as directing in a particular area, or it's which areas are
I think it's really been a citywide effort, but certainly there are some areas where these stores proliferate, and those have gotten more attention because of their numbers. I don't know what the current number of closures is. You quoted a number of 800 and something. It might be more at this point, but I will check on that also. That's another task force and joint effort. And I know from what I do that communities are very happy to have these shops closed down and give the legal stores a chance. So I will get back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next we have Katie Loeb from Councilmember Carnegie.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Loeb, Councilmember Rivera's Chief of Staff. I just saw the Airtable that our report wasn't uploaded, but I don't want to overload you too much today. So I do just want to talk about two hearings that we have coming up. One is on October 30th in the Council Members Committee on Arts and Culture and Libraries, and it's done jointly with the Committee on Small Business, and it's about activating public space and small business revitalization in naturally occurring cultural districts. So that should be a great hearing where we learn a lot about public art and naturally occurring cultural districts and how these enrich our city and our communities. And then we have a very important hearing in the Committee on Hospitals on October 29th at 1 p.m. And it's going to be an oversight hearing on community needs when hospitals close. This is especially important for our community here in Community Board 6 because of the closure of Mount Sinai Beth Israel. So we plan to really go in on that. We've invited a lot of advocates, you all included, to come testify and join a rally beforehand. And we hope that we're going to have a really robust discussion about the impacts on the remaining hospitals and community health outcomes. So that's October 29th at 1 p.m. The date did change. So when I send the highlight report, I'll make that edit before I send it over.
Great, thank you very much. We're going to hear more about MSBI later on in the meeting too, but thank you for letting everyone know. Wait, do we have the senator? Not
Yeah.
Oh, hi, folks. Apologies. Of course, just as you were calling me, my Zoom app closed. But I wanted to hop on and sorry, am I all good to go?
Yeah. Yes, please.
So
sorry, I didn't introduce you yet.
okay. Well, I'm happy to take over in that part. Everyone, my name is Kristen. I'm the state senator for District 59. Apologies for not being there in person. We have a lovely 3-borough Senate district, and so tonight is another night of trying to make it in between the different boroughs. But I wanted to come here and join the community board meeting because we do have some important announcements and exciting updates from our office. So first, I just wanted to remind folks that we do office hours every single month at Kips Bay Library. We just did it on the 8th. We do it from 2 to 5 p.m., but we're going to be doing it again on November 12th. Feel free to come by. I'm looking to go. I go to these as well, but Peyton will certainly be there, and we're happy to take casework or help answer any questions folks may have. We also have several events coming up. An e-waste disposal event at Bellevue South Park on October 20th. And this is in partnership with Assemblymember Epstein's office, as well as Councilmember Rivera's office, and the Lower East Side Ecology Center. And this, the next event after that, which I really would love support getting the word out, because I know a lot of folks benefit from this. But the paper shredding event we have on the 23rd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So this is in partnership with Assemblymember Epstein's office, as well as the Department of Sanitation. These tend to be well attended, but really want to make sure folks know, because it is a very useful service for folks in the community. As far as issues that our office is working on, I heard, of course, cannabis come up earlier. We had a press conference on this summer, ensuring that we're, padlocking as many of these businesses as possible. We did this in partnership with all of our overlapping electeds, and having had been a part of passing legislation this year to ensure that the city is empowered to padlock them. We do want to encourage folks to continue reporting any illegal cannabis shops to our office or through in one as well. A couple of other issues I just want to put on everyone's radar. The Midtown Tunnel is squarely in my district, and so we are certainly tracking that issue and want to ensure that the city is taking the appropriate steps to address not only the previous issue, but identify any other infrastructure challenges or contractor related challenges. I don't know if many of you saw, but the way that they actually found out that the leak was coming from the river was one of the workers tasted the water. And so that certainly isn't safe, and it shows that there isn't a good process. So we want to make sure that we're doing better moving forward. And then just very briefly, Mount Sinai Beth Israel, I know the council member's office did flag the hearing that's coming up. We'll be participating, but we did meet with Mount Sinai in the last month to advocate for the maximum number of services to be had at that any potential urgent care or alternative to having the emergency room there. Of course, we're very unhappy with how the Department of Health ruled, but I think moving forward, it's in the best interest of our community to ensure that we're maximizing our healthcare access. So advocating for that with Mount Sinai, along with all of our electeds, has been a top priority. And then finally, housing, I just want to remind folks that as a result of the Rent Guidelines Board decision for Mayor Adams' administration, the rent increases have gone up as of October 1st. So that was this month. And if there's anyone who is struggling or needs support with housing, please, reach out to our office. We're certainly here to help. And we want to make sure that folks are aware of what their rates are and essentially, prepared for the increases that I know many, especially our aging neighbors, are going to struggle with. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions, and I hope this was a helpful update, but Peyton is there as well if folks want to connect with our office.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? I don't see any, but thank you for the update and being here to give us the news.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, take care.
Yes, Harvey Epstein is not here yet, so do we have any other?
I'm sorry, everyone.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Assembly Member Epstein should be there by 7:30. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, he has 6 minutes. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun.
Okay.
We'll go on to Patrick Hill from Senator Councilmember Powers' office.
Hi, everyone. Don't have anything to add to the report that we submitted, but if anyone has any questions, be more than happy to take them.
Do we have any questions for them?
Yeah.
Oh, Anne, please go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I was really appreciative to see in your newsletter or whatever, your report, kind of breaking down the elements of your Con Ed bill. I recently chose a new energy supplier, and when I looked carefully at the bill, I was shocked at how little of the bill was actually my electricity usage. I mean, it was like, I don't think it was even 30%. So, I always unplug everything, like vampire energy. I'm not a fan. But I think that if you're looking to cut costs, like it's sort of irrelevant, because that's not what drives your bill. It's what Con Ed is charging for the delivery. And it's kind of the other elements and the taxes and the charges. So I think it's great that you are encouraging people to conserve, but I wonder if you might not want to, and I'm really glad you pointed it out, but I wonder if you might not want to like really educate people on, because you know what, the difference between choosing a provider that's going to charge 10 cents a kilowatt hour versus 12, like that's not what's going to affect your energy bill. So anyway, thank you. I'm really glad you did what you did, but I'd appreciate it if you kind of take it to the next step.
Okay. I can, touch base with the council member on that. And we have been getting a lot of inquiries from folks in regards to Con Edison bills, jumping up pretty high.
Yeah.
And a lot of that does come from the delivery charges. So, definitely more than happy to take that back to him and, come back with more.
Super. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Of course.
Hey, thank you. We'll move on then to Rocca Rosenberg from the Borough President Levine's office. Are you there? Okay. We might move on. Do we have anyone else from? Oh, sorry.
Hello.
Oh, sorry. Here's Braca. Sorry.
Hi. Sorry about that. I was having trouble. I saw the promotion thing, but I was having trouble with it. So hi everybody. I did submit some talking points with some of the information. I don't want to cover too much of that, but look into that for information regarding our response to the MTA capital plan, where we advocated for further investment in certain stations, including the Union Square station, right outside CB6. Aside from that, we also are working on Dear Neighbor letters surrounding the new composting requirements, because I know there's a lot of questions about that, and you can look on our website for some resources that we have there. And our leadership training series is coming back, so look out for emails on that. Some of those trainings are mandatory, and will be in each community member's inbox. They're also open to the public for anyone who's interested. Feel free to reach out. Aside from that, I just want to highlight a couple of events that we have on October 15th, between 9:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. This one's not in the notes, but we are co-sponsoring Older Adults Day at the Whitney. So older adults ages 50 plus are invited to enjoy the Whitney Museum on a day when it's closed to the public. So feel free to show up for that and reach out to me if you want more information. Beyond that, we have our Hispanic Heritage event, which is that evening at 6 p.m. Feel free to reach out for more information on that. We have a flyer as well. Other than that, Shana Tova to those who celebrate, and I appreciate your patience if it takes me an extra day or so to respond to any emails, because I'm going to be a bit in and out of the office over the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the President's office? No, thanks very much, Braca. And I'm starting.
Hi, I'm Hannah Wienerman from Congressman Jerry Mather's office. So I just wanted to flag a few things on our newsletter just for some dates. So Medicare open enrollment is open beginning October 15th. That lasts to December 7th. That can be at medicare.gov. You can also go on our website for Medicare updates. Additionally, you can now renew your passport online for U.S. eligible citizens. You can go to travel.state.gov/renew online. The routine processing times have now gone down to 4 to 6 weeks, and expedited processing is 2 to 3 weeks. Now the last thing is that I mentioned last month that COVID tests will be available for free tests per household. That is now live at covidtest.gov. There was a question about the deadline of when you can submit the request. The website doesn't have a deadline yet, so you can keep submitting requests, and if there's any issues, please contact our office. Happy to answer any questions.
Very fast. Can you? Can you please repeat the website for the passports?
Sure. It's travel.state.gov/renew online. You can also just go to the general, State Department website and then just click on the things for the passports.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Should we move on to our public session and what is in the member absent to? So has anyone signed up to speak in the public session?
They have. And next we have a few, we will begin. Ray John Balik. Ray, are you here? I don't see you, going once, going twice. All right, we'll move on.
Oh, Odette. Odette Wilkers is there.
Yeah, they're on the list.
Okay.
Okay, next on the list is Theodora Scarato. Let's see if she's here. Yep. Yes, she is. And Theodora Scarato is a resident of another community district, not this one, but she wishes to speak on agenda item 6A. Ms. Scarato, you have 3 minutes to make your remarks. You may begin now.
Thank you. Actually, I'm in Washington, D.C., and I was executive director of an environmental organization, Environmental Health Trust. And we actually sued the U.S. government on the issue of wireless radiation, such as from 5G cell towers, and we won. The issue was that the government had not fully reviewed all of the science that had been placed on its record related to harm from cell towers and other wireless technologies. So I urge you to think about this issue as you consider the 5G issue. Wireless companies themselves define RF radiation from cell towers as a type of pollution in their own protection plans they put forward. And in fact, insurance companies compare the issue to asbestos, and they rate 5G as high risk. They exclude coverages for health damages from the radiation as industry standard. If insurance companies won't take the risk, why would we? Now, in the lawsuit, the FCC was ordered to explain how its limits that were set in 1996, unchanged since 1996, were adequately protective based on a proper review. The FCC could not explain it. In fact, they ignored hundreds of documents that were on its record. They were ordered to address this issue in 2021. It's been 3 years, and the US FCC has not responded. Verizon's annual report, as an example of what wireless companies do, they say that they may face personal injury and wrongful death lawsuits related to the alleged health effects of wireless phones. However, and they also say they might incur expenses. So they warn their shareholders, but they don't warn us. If you look at the New Hampshire State Commission on 5G Health and Environment, you can find their final report on 5G, where they recommend a 1,640-foot cell tower setback for homes and schools because of their investigation over an entire year. The International Association of Firefighters officially opposes cell towers on their stations because they say they want to study with the highest degree of scientific merit and integrity on the health effects. Until that's conducted and proven that these are not hazardous, they don't want it. And in fact, California firefighters, their unions successfully lobbied state lawmakers to remove fire stations from a list of cell tower fast track sites. So I also want to mention that there are hundreds of scientists that are warning safety is not assured. Go to emfscientist.org to see them and their credentials, and they recommend reducing exposure to the public. Although we may think that this issue is being reviewed by the government, it is not. In fact, the EPA, CDC, FDA, National Cancer Institute, none of them have completed a scientific research review of all of the current science that has been transparently done to ensure, of course, that our limits are protected. I don't know what that noise is.
The playoff music.
The Academy Awards.
That's great.
Okay. For your comments.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll be taking a slight detour from the public speakers list for a few minutes. We have now been joined by Assemblymember Harvey Epstein, who will deliver some fascinating remarks.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, fascinating. I'll take fascinating.
Riveting.
What riveting things can I say today? So, people know in the last 2 sessions, we voted on what's called the ERA, now known as Prop 1. I voted for it twice. in 2 consecutive legislative terms. It's on the ballot this November. People are interested. Eric in the back, I just hand around with Prop 1 pins. If anyone wants a Prop 1 pin, they can, Eric, you can circulate them for folks who want them. Again, I voted for it twice because I think it's critical that we have these protections that exist under the statute in New York. It's part of our constitution. It creates a higher standard, which is called strict scrutiny, and so it's a critical thing for New York, whether it's around health or LGBT rights. That's something that Prop 1 will really do. And it's important that we, people make sure they flip their ballots in November, because they'll be on the opposite side. Last week, I don't know if people saw, the governor signed our bill to co-name 23rd Street Subway Station for Baruch College. So, Senator Gonzalez and I, well, she's not here, Kath is, we're able to pass that bill. And so hopefully this spring we'll have a co-naming for the station. You know, other schools like Hunter and Medgar and most of those can have it. Why can't we have it for Baruch, which, you know, honestly, if you think about, and spending barriers and helping people go from lower income to higher income, Baruch is the best school in the country. Takes lower income New Yorkers and puts them into a higher income class. Rated 1 in the United States. Go to USA Today and any data to look at what Baruch does. So a couple events coming up. We have a e-waste event that's happening. I don't know if you guys saw that. I don't know. This is you guys send, I don't know, you send these around, or you might, so people might know about it. But it's Sunday the 20th, we're doing an e-waste event, Bellevue South Park. So they have old phones, old electronics, you can have it. During a shredding event in Stuyvesant Square Park at 16th Street. So if you have old, any paper you want shredded, come on and get some free shredding done. I think Joanna, put it in that chat, or I don't know if she said hard copies of our last round, but Halloween, we do every year, our staff dresses up in a costume, as a collective costume, so come by on Halloween this year, you get to see who we are this year. The last 2 years have been, you know, we've had some like really fun things that we've done. And so just, you know, obviously it's been a tough couple of weeks in New York with the indictment of the mayor. It's not something that any of us take lightly. To be honest, I did call on the mayor to step down because I feel like that's really what's in the best interest of all New Yorkers. It's hard to run a city for 8.5 million people alone, but harder to run a city kind of with half his executive body under investigation, indictment, and the mayor himself. We also did call on the fire department to re-inspect the Turkish consulate. There's real concerns around that. We circulated that letter. If they got approval for a building that may be unsafe in our neighborhood, we should know about it and they should really inspect it. Over on Strauss houses, I organized a roundtable for the residents of Strauss because, you know, unfortunately, over the summer, people noticed there was a murder that happened there, and the person involved in the murder ended up being a drug dealer. But then when the drug dealer went to jail, there was a turf war in front of Strauss from other drug gangs, and it's been a really horrific situation. And we had a meeting a week and a half ago, and I think that roundtable really got the 13th precinct more engaged, and we've heard some really good feedback. And you know, Monday was a tough day for folks who don't know I'm Jewish. You know, 1 year anniversary of 1,200 Jews getting killed and a year of Palestinians being slaughtered is a tough thing to look at. And while really on October 7th, really want to talk about, you know, the murders, but we have to talk about what the Israeli government has done since October 7th. And so we live in a really difficult world, and you know, as a person of Jewish faith, you know, that day really is horrific. But a person of faith feels like what's happened since is, you know, the children that we've lost. We need to figure out how we end this war and stop bombing children in our world. So those are really heavy things that have been going on. We did some fun stuff. We like expanded open streets, which was fun. We did some like celebration. We did a Baruch Rosh Hashanah celebration. And for those who do celebrate, wish people a happy and healthy new year for those who do celebrate. And if the board allows me to take a question or two. If there are any questions from members, I'm happy to do that.
Anne has, sorry. Anne, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to know what your Halloween costume's gonna be to lighten it up, lighten the mood.
So you have to come and look. But if you look at my newsletter, you've seen in the last 2 years, I think 2 years ago, we were the Addams Family. I was Uncle Fester. You go look at the pictures, they're great. Last year, what were we? Oh, we were the Wizard of Oz. This year, if you want to come find out, you may have to come to our office, get some candy, and see what our costume is.
Candy corn.
Tanya has a question?
I don't know, I might be, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good. I'm Tanya Arias. I might be throwing a wrench into this whole thing, but have you dealt with or are you aware of the fact that banks are reluctant to lend to buildings that have been designated either swarm or unsafe? And a lot of buildings are losing their financing and the ability to sell apartments. As a result, this all started when the building collapsed in Florida. The national banks are starting to not understand what our FISC program is all about. And it's become a real problem.
So there's some bank, you're saying, so, are you talking about rental buildings or condo
No.
co-ops?
On those co-ops. It's become a real serious problem. I spoke to the Council of Co-ops and Condos.
Yeah,
And they're aware of it. I think the problem lies in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And the way they bundle but it's serious. It's serious because we're finding buildings where people are having to buy all cash. This is starting to really tear at the fabric of the city. Not all co-ops are rich people. That's a misnomer. And a good percentage of the people that live in the city are not rich.
yeah, I think there are a couple things going on. One, I think is, the way real estate taxes are being, assessed on a lot of our buildings, especially condos, co-ops and rental buildings in the city. And I think that assessment's a problem, and I think that's affecting people's lending power. And we're trying to get a new, tax assessment for the city, and that's, we've been working with the controller's office and the mayor's office to try to do that, but we have not gotten a proposal from the controller, but not from the mayor's office. So that, the other issue is kind of the issue around, people who living close to, obviously right now in Tampa and St. Pete, we're talking about hurricanes, what happened here in Sandy. The cost of insurance is going through the roof. We've seen it, like in my building, I live in a building that went co-op and I've lived there for 30 years and we've seen the cost of insurance go through the roof.
Yeah, but if on top of that, the banks are not gonna lend to you, we're in a mess.
And so they're kind of exacerbating the problem, obviously, luckily interest rates are coming down, so it makes it a little better and with lower interest rates. But I think this problem has been it's an ongoing problem. And trying to figure out what we can do on state level, we only have an ability to manage the state chartered banks, so there's only 25 state chartered banks in New York. So we only have very little authority, and most of it is really federal authority, because we can say what you can do in New York, but we can't say, or what you can't say for federally chartered banks. So this is something that I think we've been grappling with for a few years, and some of the regulations we've had to ensure that financing happens with these state chartered banks, they've said to us, makes them less competitive in the market, because then the federal banks can make other choices. So there's a tough balance here, but I hear it's a serious problem.
Yeah, no, maybe a combination of the city and state and DOB explaining to the banks what it is that the FISC program is.
Right.
That if you're declared unsafe, it doesn't mean the building's gonna collapse.
Right,
It's a maintenance program.
and then really some federal protections for people as well.
Thank you.
Rick has a question?
I actually don't have a question, I just have a comment. Thank you very much for calling for Mayor Adams' resignation, because you're absolutely right. Having such a corrupt mayor as the head of the city is just, it's unfeasible, especially when most of his administration is resigning and under indictment, and whoever's left is in public getting in brawls with people.
Right.
So I just want to say thank you for that.
I know this is a community board, this is not politics, but it is policy, and I think it's really important that we think about how we manage policy in our city. And, again, when the governor, we were going to impeach the governor 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Wherever it was.
Flies.
Yeah, it was like the right policy decision. We had to make a choice because there's 11 women who alleged sexual violence, and there were these allegations of misdealings related to COVID deaths. So there were all these things that led up to a report that we released in August, and that had led to his impeachment. And I thought at that point the governor had to resign based on all of the crisis. I think the mayor is unfortunately in the same situation. We need firm leadership and steady leadership in times of crisis, and New York is in one of those times.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all, everyone. Take care.
I will now go back to our. Thanks.
Back to the public session speakers list, already in progress. Okay, the next speaker is Ms. Odette Wilkins from NYC Alliance for Safe Technology and Wired Broadband Inc., who wishes to speak to this board also on agenda item 6A. Ms. Wilkins, you have 3 minutes to begin your remarks. You may begin now.
Thank you. I am also a technology transactional attorney for over 20 years, so I know a little bit about technology. I'm speaking out in opposition to the 5G towers proposed for 800 3rd Avenue and at 45th Street and 2nd Avenue, and adding the 4G and 5G street pole attachments. There are already 17 community boards to date that have either disapproved or called for moratoria on these towers, consisting of over 25% of New York City. It appears that the 4G and 5G pole attachments are they may be less than 10.6 feet from a building, in which event City Bridge is required to give notice to the community board. They gave a similar notice to Manhattan Community Board 8 on the Upper East Side, but they disapproved any installations less than 10.6 feet from a building. So your community board may want to consider doing the same. Now, there are several fallacies regarding the 5G towers, which I'd like to correct. One is that this is to serve future capacity needs. Well, first of all, where's the data on the capacity needs for future demand? The answer to community boards has been that the telecoms consider that proprietary information. Well, if the telecoms are using city assets to make a profit, and that is what the 5G towers are, they're basically a profit-making enterprise, there should be full transparency. If telecoms cannot show evidence of a gap in phone service, there is no federal preemption. And that's federal case law in New York. Manhattan Community Board 6 already has huge wireless coverage within a 3-mile radius from zip code 10017 alone. Do you know that there are 789 towers and 11,092 antennas? You have enough wireless coverage to cover you for the next century, it seems. And also in terms of aesthetics, the 5G towers, their bays are made of light plastic, and we've heard from City Bridge they can fall off in the wind, and that will give the appearance of missing teeth. So that's not going to look very nice. Also, we heard that the WHO says 5G is safe. That's an AI algorithm response gone bad. In fact, the WHO does not say that 5G is safe. It states on its website that there is no adverse health effect that has been causally linked to wireless technologies. Now, that's consistent with its 2011 assessment that wireless radiation is a Class 2B possible human carcinogen. That established a correlation, but not causality. There are scientists on that committee now that are calling wireless radiation a human carcinogen. So in terms of what the wireless industry is saying, they are also saying that there are health effects, and they have come out with studies showing that as well. But I see that my time is up, and I can answer any questions in the future. Thank you.
We will now go on to the next speaker, Ms. Susan Peters, also from New Yorkers for Wired Tech, who wishes to speak to the board on the same agenda topic, 6A. Ms. Peters, you have 3 minutes for your remarks. You may begin now.
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you very much for letting me talk. My talk, I title my talk, Follow the Money. Okay. First of all, your government is not protecting you and your children from the harmful health effects of cell phone radiation. Please read the following article that I'm going to talk to you about. The Harvard SAFRA, S-A-F-R-A, Center of Ethics, published an investigation showing the ties between the wireless industry and the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. At the FCC, former wireless lawyers and lobbyists lead the agency as FCC commissioners. Former FCC commissioners and top agency officials take jobs in industry they used to regulate. Here's some examples. Tom Wheeler, prior to 2013, he was head of the CTIA, the Telecoms International Wireless Association. In 2013, he became head of the FCC and laid the groundwork for 5G, pushing through regulations at FCC to strip local authorities regarding cell antenna placement. How about Meredith Atwell Baker, former FCC commissioner? Today, she is president and chief CEO of CTIA, the Telecoms International Wireless Trade Association. And also Michael Powell, former FCC commissioner from 2001 to 2005. From 2011 to today, he is president of the NCTA, a broadband industry trade association, one of the most prominent lobbying organizations in the US. And the last one, there's many more, but within my time, the last one is Jonathan Edelstein. 2002 to 2009, he was a former FCC commissioner. From 2012 to 2022, he was president and CEO of WIA, Wireless Infrastructure Association, representing over 200 companies that own and build wireless broadband facilities in the US. Please wake up, read the article from the Harvard University Safra Center. You're not being protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your remarks. Next, we move on to the next speaker on the list, Mubin Siddiqui, who is a member of CB6, but is speaking to you tonight in her personal capacity about Muslim Volunteers for New York, Inc., and a free virtual health that they're holding.
Thank you.
Mubin, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Naveen, and I'm a founding board member of a nonprofit called Muslim Volunteers for New York. It is a community service organization. It is designed exclusively to serve New York City, primarily Manhattan, and all the boroughs, the surrounding boroughs. I'll tell you a little bit about it and then about this wonderful free family-friendly event we'll be hosting soon. The organization was registered about 9.5 years ago. We work with a whole host of city and private city agencies and private nonprofits. We are, as I said, a community service organization that serves our neighborhoods, our communities, our city parks, and our schools. Our 4 major platforms are health, wellness, and community, education, environmental stewardship, and alleviation of hunger and poverty. First and foremost, Sham Tova to everyone here who's celebrating, our neighbors, our community members. We wish everyone a wonderful year. The program we're hosting is going to be held next week. It's free, so please join, sign up. It's virtual. You can do it from the comfort of your home, your office, or even on your earbuds. It's going to be held at 6:30 in the evening. You do have to register for it. It's part of our health and wellness program. It's basically called Busting the Myths Surrounding Health, Wellness, and Nutrition. A wonderful co-founding board member, Dr. Saima Saad, who's highly accomplished. She is a certified medical director and specializes in the areas of internal medicine, geriatrics, hospice, and palliative care. She's had over 20 years of experience, and she's going to talk about some cutting edge nutrition science, and that will burst many of our long held views on nutrition and health. I have given Jesus the registration link. Hopefully, please put it in the chat. You can follow us on our website. It's called, if you type in Muslim Volunteers for New York, you'll easily find our website. Social media handle is @MV, the number 4NY. Please look us up. The registration link will be available online as well. But I really hope you all join. It's going to be free, it's going to be fun, and Saima is a wonderful speaker. So we look forward to an engaging, meaningful conversation with all of you. So thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here.
And yes, we did put the chat, in the chat registration link.
Thank you, yes, please.
Okay, we'll move on to the next speaker. The next speaker is Mr. Arnold Gore, who does not live in this district, but wishes to speak to the board about agenda item 6A. Mr. Gore, you have 3 minutes to make your remarks. You may begin now.
I'm Arnold Gore from Brooklyn, New York. I served on the Manhattan Solid Waste Advisory Board when recycling was rolled out. The overwhelming number of scientific studies by independent scientists, independent of the wireless industry, have confirmed that there are substantial health effects ranging including brain cancers and infertility. This has been documented on the site of ehtrust.org/science. The community board must use its authority in order to set zoning and siting standards for these telecommunication facilities. As the power increases, more and more people are being drawn into the electrically sensitive community. And these people who are electrically sensitive may be few now, but they are the canaries in the coal mine warning us that we have to take action to stop this from spreading further and further. The board should pass a resolution opposing the rollout of NYC Link and having more towers erected in our community. There are currently bills in Congress that have recognized how effective we have been going from community board to community board, and they are trying to take away your power to have an input on zoning and siting for these wireless facilities. You have to take action now while you still have that power to help protect your community from this ongoing assault, which keeps getting worse and worse. Thank you.
Mr. Gore, for your remarks. We will now move on to the next speaker on the list, Ms. Julie Martin, who does not live in this district, but wishes to address the board on agenda item 6A. Ms. Martin, you have 3 minutes to make your remarks.
Yes, thank you.
Now.
Thank you so much. Yes, I have been moved to speak about the Link 5G issue too. I've been following the rollout and listened to a lot of the presentations that the city and City Bridge have been giving over the past 2 years. And there are many subtle ways that they are misrepresenting what this is all about, not intentionally, but as their job is merely to facilitate the latest technology. But they and we all are living in a bit of a corporate bubble. We tend to be dismissive of what a lot of independent scientists have been pulling their hair out over for the past decade and more. I'd like to mention that since 2015, over 200 scientists working and publishing in this field have submitted petitions to the UN and other international bodies calling for greater health protection from EMF exposure. You can see their petition at emfscientist.org. I'll also point you to the BioInitiative report at bioinitiative.org, just to give a sense of the scope and variety of types of biological effects that this type of exposure can cause that could be a factor underlying some of the increases we are seeing in chronic disease. The representatives from the city and City Bridge often reassure that public health has been fine since the decades wireless technologies have become widespread, but insurance companies tell a different story. A 2019 Blue Cross Blue Shield report tells us that the millennials, the first generation to grow up from birth with this technology, are worse off than the Generation X, which came before them. Not to give out bad energy, but at age 27, they have higher rates of depression, diabetes, heart problems, and cholesterol. WHO statistics are also showing what social worker professor and researcher Colin Pritchard of Bournemouth University calls, quote, the hidden epidemic of neurological diseases that is predominantly environmentally triggered, possibly influenced by changes in background EMF, unquote. Of course, the rise in our electromagnetic environment cannot be the only factor, but it could very well be a factor, especially when looking at the types of biological effects. The studies have been showing single and double-strand DNA breaks, oxidative stress, amongst others. In terms of the question of privacy, I will just suggest that everyone read the book Surveillance Capitalism by Shoshana Zuboff. In it, she outlines in great detail how collecting all our data is the centerpiece of big tech's business model, not something they can just stop doing. No matter how good City Bridge's privacy policy is, and many still have questions about it, what they intend to do and what the city is asking them to do is to build an even more pervasive wireless infrastructure that will allow third parties to track and collect our data even more intensely than they already do. But there are better ways to cross the digital divide. We have to address the half-built system of fiber optic. We have to address the monopoly pricing that is causing us some of the highest phone internet rates in the world. These should be our priority. I thank the committee for all their efforts, but do think this topic needs much more time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you very
your
much.
remarks. Thank you. That now concludes the speakers list for tonight. Thank you very much to all who participated.
The September 11th full board meeting were distributed to board members ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the September 11th board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CD6 website. Chair's report. So Abigail Cruz-Mark had her baby girl, and there's a card circulating which the office put together for us, so please do sign and send your best wishes. We look forward to seeing her join the community board eventually. We'll see. Good news, Murphy Brothers Playground is open. It opened today, and the official opening will be next week. So that's great. It has restrooms, which is something apparently we've been advocating for a long time. This week I attended a task force meeting regarding the ecosystem for the STEM programs that will be at Spark. The goal is to have our community benefit from the project. And after attending the meeting, I realized we definitely need to learn more about these major institutions in our district and how we can interact with them. CUNY has a very strong presence and we don't really take advantage of that. So definitely something we need to follow up on. Thank you to the board office for initiating the survey regarding the use of the water club. It's a great opportunity to have public use of that waterfront. That it's been a long-term goal of this board, and it's a good lesson in how persistent and determined you need to be to win back any of these spaces. Jerry and Livia are working on some social media initiatives and more of that to follow. You may notice people taking photographs. There are going to be some interviews and recaps for at the end of the year for what you've been doing this year. And Rupal and I have been joining the discussions on the Mount Sinai Beth Israel closure, and Rupal is going to give a brief update.
So, a couple of quick updates. So as it's already been mentioned by a couple of the electives here, that there is a city council hearing on examining the effects of hospital closures on communities. That hearing is on October 29th at 1 p.m. at 250 Broadway. Committee room on the 14th floor. So Anybody who can attend the hearing in person should, but in fact, we want to encourage people to attend the hearing. If in fact, if you can give a testimony in person, you'll have 2 minutes to speak. And again, we encourage people to speak on this topic as well. However, if you do want to speak in public there, you do need to register for it. So there's going to be a link which I think Jesus can send out or put in the chat. If you cannot make it in person, you can also submit the testimony online. And you can do that up to 72 hours after the hearing. Before the hearing, there's also going to be a press conference. So the hearing is at 1 p.m. The press conference is going to be at noon, and it's going to be at the steps of City Hall. Jerry, are you looking at the website that says it's on the 22nd? No, it got changed. It got changed literally yesterday, so you got the updated email. It has been moved because on the 22nd, the City Council is hearing on the City of Yes. And they expect at 9:30 in the morning, and they expect that hearing to go on longer. So they had to move the hearing on this hospital closures to a week later. So it's gonna be on the 10th, it's gonna be on October 29th. And there is also, as you may know, there's a court case going on about this as well. So there's gonna be a court, they're gonna be going in front of the lawsuit is gonna be going in front of a judge on October 31st at 10 a.m. and that's gonna be at 60 Center Street. So again, if you can attend even that, they want people, basically they want communities to show up and show support. So if any of these events you can make it to in person, it's highly recommended and encouraged. They're also gonna have a rally to landmark the New York Pioneer Building, and that's gonna be on October 15th at 11 a.m. And that's gonna be on 13th Street and 2nd Avenue. So again, if you can go, please do. And some of the other ways that we can also get involved is basically we can have like a campaign, like people can call governor's office, whether it's phone call, letter writing, whatever it is, to let her know, one, that this was not really great for our community, that this is gonna really impact a lot of people, especially people in need. But also going forward, if the governor hears from us, that might be she might be more open to where we move forward from that here, like where we go forward. It is also gonna help our elected officials, like Senator Gonzalez's office and Assemblymember Harvey Epstein's office, to better advocate for us and what our community needs are. At this point, it sounds like the governor's office may not have heard enough about this issue from us and how it's gonna impact us. So that is another thing that if you have the time, if you can participate, just let the governor's office know, and give them a call and give her a call and let her know. So yeah, because once this hospital is closed, as you know, it's gonna be really difficult, especially with congestion pricing not in effect. It's gonna take longer and longer to get the care we need. Right, and I know Senator Brad Holloman-Segal's office put out a report, I think earlier last month, sometime a month ago, that basically talked about the impacts that delayed care can have. Like, for example, I think a cardiac arrest patient, their chances of survival goes down by 7 to 10% for every minute of care delayed. A stroke patient loses almost 2 million brain cells every minute that care is delayed. And with congestion pricing and taking longer and longer getting to the hospital, this really impacts us as a community, but especially those who are a lower socioeconomic group, people who really need the help. So yeah, those are my updates on what I missed something.
No, that's great. Thank you very much. Virgil and I have been going to meetings once a week to sort of keep updated. So there's still hope. Yeah. Our district manager, Jesus Perez, will now give a report.
We got a lengthy agenda, so I'll keep it super brief. I just want to draw your attention to some materials that we got from the Board of Elections. We want to make sure that the public is well informed about the election and the ballot initiatives that are on the ballot in a month's time. Community boards obviously are city agencies, so they cannot engage in political activities, but they can provide unbiased, neutral, nonpartisan information about matters that are going to be on your ballot. So we have voting guides that explain the text of the ballots. We have voter registration cards for those of you who are not registered, and we have palm cards and posters that you can get more information about everything you need to know about the upcoming elections. So please direct your attention over there when you're leading the meeting. People are asking questions.
Just briefly, adding the fast pass tag into the discussion if that's available.
Those typically get mailed to you.
Yes.
And if you have one, you should take it to your polling place. It can expedite things.
Very important question. Where can I get a copy of the "We Want You" poster with the pigeon on it?
Honestly, we already have a copy at the office, so if you want to be careful to tweak it, you may have it. Anyone who wants to get these posters, they're just going to be in the office, so you can take it.
Thank you.
It's a cute pigeon.
I'm sure NYC votes could probably give you one.
Yeah, go ahead and take it though.
Thank you.
We have on the office already. That concludes my report. Thank you.
We're moving on to Gabe.
Okay,
Gabe.
treasurer's report. According to the Office of Management and Budget, as of October 1st, 2024, the CB6 budget is $612,004. Encumbered funds total $188,160, of which $177,905 are rent. Liquidated funds total $64,273, $61,182 of that is for personal services, and $3,091 is for other than personal services. Unencumbered and unliquidated funds are $359,569, of which $142,811 are street fair funds. Any questions?
Moving on, now the committee reports and resolutions. A reminder that the same rules stated at the beginning of the meeting still apply. Members of the public, please note that during this section of the meeting, we only recognize questions from members of the board. The CB6 staff emailed the digital ballot to all members. Please click on the link in your email the office sent to open the ballot. Select your name from the drop-down list, select your vote on each resolution as presented. And again, I'm going to say it once, don't hit submit until later in the evening after the final resolution has been presented and discussed. At the end of the meeting, please submit after you've indicated all your votes on your ballot. You won't be able to submit the ballot unless you vote on every resolution. If you plan on abstaining, please select abstain and remember it counts as a negative vote. Final vote counts will be announced after the second roll call. If any part of the voting procedure is unclear, please raise your hand and we will address your question. We're starting off with Budget and Governmental Affairs with Nat Kalani as chair.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, really appreciate the time that all the committees took to review the budget requests. I know it's a long process and appreciate everybody spending the time thinking about it, making them comprehensive. I would say this we got into a really good spot. And I know, especially post summer, it does take some work, but I would say the responses in the Airtable definitely helped us in our committee meeting earlier this month have like a more informed debate about the rankings. And I think as well, when we do put in these requests, it should help us get more fulsome responses. It always is a difficult task to rank the priorities. I think our committee is broadly pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm open to any questions on that, but I know it's been sent out, so yeah.
If there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please mark your digital ballots.
And while everybody's voting, just topics for the coming months that we're going to be working on. One is on property tax reform. There's been some ongoing cases with that. We've been talking to Rich and Housing to basically figure out how we want to proceed as board. And the second topic is around the redistricting reform. This is another topic that's sort of going through the courts right now. I think a big part of it for this board is offering our opinion sort of in an earlier stage, just so we're on the front foot. If folks who have been on the board for a couple of years might remember what happened last time the redistricting happened, where our board was, or our district was sort of shifted into different ways. So we just want to stay proactive there and make sure that we have a voice in the process.
Great. Any questions at all for that? Excellent, thanks very much. Next is the executive committee with Sandy McKee as chair. And we have one resolution to discuss, and this was to amend the C6 bylaws to clarify attendance policy with regard to excused absences. And we're only discussing this resolution, but we're not voting on it tonight because in addition to the bylaws, it's a 2-month process. And after reading the resolution, there was quite a robust discussion at the executive committee of what would constitute an excused absence. And I think at the end of the meeting, we agreed that if you aren't at the meeting, you're absent. It seemed logical. But right now, there are a variety of reasons why you would not be counted as absent. And really what the end of the discussion was that it seems a bit harsh, but if you're not there and you've missed quite a few meetings during the year, there would be a review of that at the end of the year. Or after it became, if you don't come for 6 consecutive meetings, this probably means you're not really want to be on the board anymore. So the resolution that went out is a little differently nuanced than I believe what we discussed at executive. And it does list some reasons why you would be excused versus absent. And do we have the little chart to think? Sure. I know there was a lot of discussion like absent, excused, present, not present on Zoom. And we tried to clarify that. So if there are, hopefully this clarifies for everyone. If you're, Marty. But wait for the mic, sorry.
The last item in regards to the approved absences had to do with having to be at work or something. Shouldn't civic duty be part of that as well? Not necessarily board duty, but many of us are on precinct council or various area like SAC or whatever. And sometimes those meetings will occur when other board meetings are.
If we go ahead with what we've discussed, it doesn't matter. You're absent. Everybody's absent if they're not here. That was.
But that was listed insofar as what excuses.
We'd be modifying that to there'd be no reason why you would be excused. There's no such thing as excused. You're either absent or you're present. So that would be a modification to what went out in the resolution. And I think that addresses more closely what we discussed at our meeting. And Sullivan, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this makes sense, and I think it's a great way to sort of present the information. And I can't scroll down, but I'm wondering, I feel like there should be another row that's like member can vote. You know what I mean? Like that you should have, because obviously you can't vote if you're not present either in person or remotely, but you can vote, and you can vote with all the others, right?
Yes, you're
and I just feel like that it would be helpful to have another row that clarifies that.
Okay. Definitely, if you're on Zoom or if you're in person, you're not voting, regardless of how you go.
Correct, and your vote, like you're not. You might not count towards quorum, but your vote does count.
Your vote does count, absolutely. Okay, Larry has a question.
So you may recall that in May, I had major surgery, which put me under anesthesia. And due to those circumstances on the day of the meeting, I did not attend. So I asked to consider whether medically necessary, impossibility of being at the meeting might incur an excuse. And I have zero tolerance for anything, but I'm pushing back.
Sure.
Semicolon. There are chronic conditions, and then there are things that are advanced. I have migraines. So just what are we anchoring our definition to disability?
Or not. If you think you're disabled, you say you're disabled. No one's going to judge. Maya?
It's my understanding that, as you were saying, for absent or absent, but then there is a review process, so if there are instances like that, wouldn't that just come up in the review process, so it should be simplifying all of this?
Absolutely.
Everything has to be excused or not excused or whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
At the beginning of each meeting, I go through a list of, are they absent or excused? Are they absent or excused? And I say they're absent, so I just want to make that clear that if you're not here, I think you're absent. So, yes, Jason.
As the chair of a committee, I find the process of having to determine excused or unexcused to be cumbersome and arbitrary, and I support the resolution to simplify things, and just not have to make a judgment call with no real guidelines.
Great, thank you. And if that ends the discussion, we will modify the resolution and present it next month, but with a clear description of there's no absent or excused within CD6. You're either here or not. That's mine.
If you modify it, there is.
Sorry, do you mind waiting for the mic because I won't hear you at home?
If we modify it, we still have the 2 month process again, or we actually will vote on it next month?
I believe we're able to vote on it next month.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Land use and water fund, Michelle Dulcimar, Chair.
I'm gonna take it.
Oh, okay. Dave's taking the floor.
Okay, we have a resolution for you tonight, quite simply to put in automatic paid toilets in Styco Park. DOT is looking to install them in the city. These are the nice ones, not the other ones.
They have the other ones now.
We currently have the other ones and cleaning them, and it has been problematic. So we are supporting Solar One in their ask. DOT will determine the exact location, but we think it's a reasonable ask that will benefit the community. Any questions?
Yes, very good. There's Sandra, has a question?
Thanks, did you say you're paid? You have to
I'm sorry, did I say pay the automatic public toilet, but they're self-cleaning. I did say.
I'll repeat that for those at home. You do not need to pay. They're on cash. Okay.
They are the.
Sorry. Dave.
They're the same make and model of the paid one in front of Madison Square Park.
But you don't have to pay.
But you don't have to pay.
So.
Yeah, Greeley Square has a free one as well. Okay, if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please mark your digital ballots. And Kate, is there a report?
Very brief, yeah. So we're continuing to work on reimagining the FDR. So if you have any thoughts on that or want to hear what direction that is moving, please come to our next meeting. And we are going to continue looking to the future of the water club. We have some fun news. I think the barge can be salvaged is what we think. So obviously we are going to now advocate for water jungle gym out on the water.
For adults?
For adults. We have strong feelings about the future of the water club. We had a very, very interesting discussion last month, and we're going to go further down that road in more detail this month. So please come to our meeting. Thank you.
And I think everyone should know, we did submit a letter to the EDC asking that it be used for public space. With that, we have not come to any final conclusion, but we really want to get to people. Good. Next is Parks, Landmark, and Cultural Affairs, Neil Barkley.
How's everyone? All right, so the first resolution that we have up is for resurfacing the handball slash pickleball court at St. Barton Park. So that's the first resolution for budget request. So that's number one. We urge everyone to vote in favor. The second one would be installing, it's also a budget request.
Are we bundling?
I mean,
Should we?
I believe the first one is the lights. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. All right, okay, so the first one, all right, so we start with the lights at St. Barton. So we're looking at adding lights to St. Barton. That's a part of our budget request. We would have the lights, they would be, they would illuminate the field there so that people can play soccer or sports later in the evening. This was something that Parks previously had said no to, because of a quality of life issue on 35th Street, which makes a lot of sense because the lights would have been directly in the 35th. But we spoke to Parks again and, you know, they're open to it now, different types of lighting, not as bad, and also to address any type of quality of life issues, there would be a period of time that it would be on. They would also be turned off by app. So I don't think anyone would go in and turn them on, but we'll find out. So that would be the first resolution, yes.
Do we have any questions regarding that resolution?
You can play.
I'm very, very excited about this.
Yeah.
But I think the resolution said that the lights will be turned off an hour after it gets dark. Did I read that correctly?
It was.
I can't pull it up right now.
One second.
I was just wondering why just an hour.
One second. Pull it up if you guys want. Yeah.
I have confirmation it's 1 hour.
It's line 31.
Line through.
Line
31, I think. Yeah.
Line 31 says.
1 hour after dark.
Sunrise to 1 hour. Okay, well, we can update that.
Yeah, that's great. November 5:30.
So, Marty, what do you think? How would you? Okay.
That's what, it was discussed at the meeting, that in most parks it's closed, they turn the lights off an hour after 11.
Yeah.
There should be an end time.
Okay, well, I think the way that our understanding was right now is there isn't a time yet. I mean, we know this is not going into 10, 11, that's not happening 9 and beyond. You know, so I think, yeah, we can get rid of it. I mean, obviously that would make sense.
So we would just take out that line
Yeah, I think we should be okay with that.
to allow uses of that from sunrise to. Okay, we just,
I think if we go to say,
at the athletic field, we just take it from sunrise
yeah.
to 1 hour
So,
after dark.
yeah, we just remove that part.
That last portion, all right.
Yeah.
So if,
So just to be clear, this resolution was amended to read, therefore be it resolved that Manhattan Community Board 6 urges the New York City Department of Parks and Recreation to install proper lighting in St. Barton Park. Period.
okay, if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please mark your digital ballots.
So we discussed that one. So the resurfacing, this is a budget request for resurfacing of the handball court at St. Barton Park. And that's yeah, let's mix yours up.
Do you have any questions? Okay, if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please mark your digital ballot.
Last resolution is there will be no pickleball court at Vincent Albano.
So what's it gonna be?
Open space. But if you wanna play pickleball, you know where to go. St. Martin.
Until 1 hour after.
Kevin had a question and then,
No.
No, actually, no, because that was for the lighting on the field. We didn't put limitations on this resurfacing. We don't have lights there.
Oh, okay.
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
no lines at all, either for handball, pickleball, so any lines that are put on that surface, since it is for free space, will have to be taped if somebody can get away with that? Are we saying there are no lines at all? Just wanted to be clear.
Well, let me just, think for a second, and I'm also gonna look at the committee members, because we really went through this for 2 hours, I think. And you were there. Yeah, this question, you know this question. He was there, right? Yeah.
We didn't talk about lines.
But yeah, that's what I mean, we're gonna talk about. No, I mean, I think, look, I think the question was the issue that the community had. Pickleball court or no pickleball court, and that's what we discussed. So, there will be no pickleball court. As in what people do and put, on the ground, I don't think that's anything that the committee can stop. There are plenty of parks that have signs. I mean, St. Martin has a big sign that says no pets. And you can go to the garden, you can obviously see there are pets in there.
Not when I'm there.
So, no, when I see there aren't, because you're there.
He's scary.
But, yes, I don't think, we can't stop what someone does, but there's no designation of it as pickleball court. Yes.
Yeah, I basically have the same question as Kevin. If there are no lines, why do we mention pickleball courts? Because I think it's great that we have the space there. I'm really excited about that. But why do we mention pickleball courts if there are no stripings?
So that was always a space that was open. That was always a space that was, for children. That's what it was there for. The great institutional memory, Marty Barrett, he explained that, from, I guess, at the beginning, the incipiency of the playground and what the purpose was, why it was, set up like that. I think what has happened is that it's an open space. Pickleball is very popular. And so people have set up and they've played there. There was then a move to, I guess, officially designate it as a pickleball court. The pushback was from the community, but they didn't want it designated as a pickleball court. Now, realistically, anyone who goes there, you can do anything. I mean, if you want to play pickleball, you can do that. If you want to bring a breakaway, basketball, I guess like rim, you could do that, but it was pretty much, it wouldn't be officially deemed pickleball court. And that's based off of the community, all of that is on the tape. We really went through this, definitely commend, the committee members because we really tried to figure out how we can get everyone a space. So handball people, tennis players, pickleball, soccer players, kids on bikes. So we did a really good job with this. Yes.
Tanya has a question. Sir.
Is it up to Kamikasi mothers like I used to be when my daughter was little to enforce this?
Well, you would certainly find fans on East 29th and Second Avenue who would come out and, support you and join in with you.
I don't want to be a grandmother, but yeah, I'm just wondering how you're going to enforce that that's not a pickleball.
Well,
space.
it will not be designated. So when you go to Asher Levy,
Yeah.
it does say pickleball on there, it's a pickleball court. So there wouldn't be, a nice NYC Department of Parks and Recreation, no leaf. They don't get a leaf.
Okay.
But, the enforcement, like I said, plenty of signs all over parks, that have.
James had a question.
I'm in the neighborhood nearby, my kids played that before, and like fond memories there. When I passed by recently, there was a square of concrete next to the wall and everything else was asphalt. Do you know if that's a permanent thing or is that just temporary?
That's just the open space. I mean,
It's gonna be asphalt now?
no, I don't think we're doing anything to that. That's my understanding. It's just leaving it as is.
And so it's asphalt. That was the question. It's going to be left as asphalt.
Yeah, you know,
And it was always concrete throughout.
I mean, our understanding was that we said leave it as is. I mean, that's something we could ask the Parks Department about exactly, but that wouldn't have an impact on designating this as a pickleball court.
During the construction they've been doing, everything was ripped out.
Mhm.
And they replaced with a small block of concrete and then black asphalt, which is not how it was originally.
Okay, so, I mean, again, that's possibly something that we could ask about, but, you know, I guess no real bearing as in designation as a pickleball court. But we could definitely ask and, you know, we could chat offline.
Sarah has a question.
I think.
Oh, sorry, there's one more back here. I'm sorry, didn't see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to support Neil in the long conversation and community involvement in these resolutions. And as far as this one is concerned, it's about designating the space for children, which is what it was always supposed to be. And as far as any concrete is concerned, part of the thinking there is kids can learn to ride bikes in that space because there's not a lot of space for children to actually learn to ride bikes. So part of it is not just no pickleball court. Part of it is really designating this as open space for children as it was always intended to be. And Neil, I have to say, we're in a great meeting of trying to give everyone kind of what they needed, and this was a really great solution.
Sarah?
Oh.
Just echo what you had said, excellent, and Neil did a fabulous job, and we did listen to all the community members, and I would like to say that I don't think the park will be finished until November 2026, is what Sonia told us that, the head of the Department of Parks. So, you know, this resurfacing probably is a moot issue for right now, because they haven't done much with it. And it's not going to be done in November of 2024.
You mean Sheena?
Sheena, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the park isn't done yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like the last piece, and it's, you know, moving along rapidly.
Yeah, we took into consideration the noise factor of the pickleball, so.
Yeah, we even listened to 30 seconds of the noise of pickleball. I'm sorry, but I mean, we did that because I think like, look, pickleball was becoming a big issue across the country. I mean, everywhere, you know, I mean, it's just a huge issue. I mean, look, my son loves the game. He earned his badge. He probably has turned the lobby of his building into a pickleball court. I mean, you know, he's definitely enjoying the craze as well. So we did listen to what the sound was, just so that people could see. I would say, you know, we had a lot of really good feedback, and so we really went through it, and we would ask everyone to, you know, support it.
So if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolution. Please mark your digital ballot. Do you have a report now?
No, I mean, waive it.
Okay.
I took up enough time.
Okay. Business Affairs and Licensing, and is going to present, since Antoine's not here too.
Okay, I'm not sure if you guys want to talk about resolutions or what was actually the most interesting part of the meeting. Do I hear a motion to bundle?
Motion to bundle.
Okay, motion to bundle everything. We bundle everything.
And I have to say, the resolutions were all really pretty straightforward, mostly folks that already had some experience or credible and seemed reasonable, comfortable with our stipulations and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that's that. I can, if you want to vote, and then I can do a report on the rest of it.
Okay, if there's no objection, we'll now vote on the resolutions. Please mark your digital ballot. I'm assuming since no one objected, we're by the way. Okay. All right, and your report.
So there was one issue that was somewhat controversial. And it ended up getting laid over to next month's meeting, which is why you don't see it here. There's somebody that is interested in opening a dispensary slash education center legally, but in a very large space. For those of you who might know it, it's the Hallmark on 44th and 2nd. Maybe it's 43rd, sorry. Which 44th. Thank you, Paige. So, and there were some kind of issues with the application. There were sort of some like, this doesn't quite add up. And then the applicant stated that he had a lease like ready to go. And that asserted that the Hallmark, which is currently occupying that space, had not paid rent in years and was going to get kicked out. At the end of it, the lessor, the Hallmark owner, said, we are up to date, offered to give information about, connect us with the managing agent, and gave all, assurances. And so there were also members of the community that spoke, had concerns about the size. Both members of the community and the committee expressed concerns about the size of this. Even if it's legal, it's just a lot different than the other legal dispensaries that we're seeing around the city.
And can I add one point too on that?
Please.
Yeah, also it's right next to a lot of the UN missions. It's right close by. And so I don't know, the whole thing was just a little bit odd.
Yeah. So we laid it over.
Again, please. You're forgetting that the street from a school.
Actually, if I could just interrupt for a minute, this is going to be at your next meeting, so all those who are interested could attend the next meeting and bring you their concerns there.
So yeah, so there were as Justin and Paige are pointing out, there were several issues with this. So we laid it over to next month, and we asked both folks for some additional information, and we need to clarify some information about getting into the weeds about the distances and do things have to be on the same block. So if you're interested, come to the meeting and you'll probably hear more about this next month.
Great, thank you very much. Transportation, we have Jason Fromowitz.
Good day. We have two resolutions in front of everybody today. The first, as everybody has heard about, we have the link resolution supporting installation of new 5G link kiosks, as well as a street post tower and a 4G tower. We had a very good presentation from Office of Technology and Innovation. They explained the need for continued growth of capacity for 5G towers and increased demand on the 5G network that they expect to increase. I think they said 20% annually. You talk about use cases like self-driving cars and the things that are driving that increased demand for 5G capacity. Also, they discussed how, the link kiosks, serve a different purpose than other, towers in the area where you have there's a whole basically there's a whole ecosystem of 5G towers. They cover things from, on the rooftops of buildings, but those primarily serve people inside of those buildings. The ones on the street surface at the link kiosks would be primarily to serve capacity for people on the ground and the sidewalks and the streets. The committee moved to, support the installation of the 5G kiosk.
Do we have any questions? Okay. If there's no objection, we will now go ahead the resolution. Please mark your ballots. Oh,
I do have a question.
Oh, please
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Jason, this decision was based only and solely on a presentation by this company. Did you guys do any research as has been mentioned by the other speakers?
It was not just, we had the city's Office of Technology and Innovation, as well as the operator of the kiosks. We did hear, from, some of the speakers at the committee meeting as well. There was no research presented of, safety.
Freehand, we'll work across the road.
So, this is a question about public health. I think the pandemic showed us it's very important where we get our information from regarding public health. And so we did look at the World Health Organization and they said, if you'll indulge me, to date and after much research performed, no adverse health effect has been causally linked with exposure to wireless technologies. So we kind of went with the World Health Organization, and we trusted that. And, I think it's super important where you get information from, especially for public health. Thanks.
We'll just work across the road.
Rob, I think you meant causally.
No, yeah. Sorry, no adverse health effect has been causally linked with exposure to wireless technologies. Thank you. Fine disclosure.
Again, semicolon, even one of the.
Oh, Jerry, please use the mic.
Yeah, one of the folks who argued against, said in her statement that correlation does not cause causation. I would only add that the process was actually unfolding over a 2-month period where we did ask, the vendor a number of questions and they responded, and we had that with us before their presentation.
And I think Marty, you had a question.
Some years ago, Sweden did a very large study in this regards and found no correlation between health effects and the EMF.
If there are no additional comments and no objection, we'll vote on the resolution. Please mark your ballot.
While you're voting on that, I will introduce the next resolution. Next resolution is urging the Department of Transportation to open up the South Outer Roadway path on the Queensboro Bridge to pedestrians for a pedestrian path, despite delays on the upper roadway construction of the bridge. I'll provide a bit of history on this. As well as some new-ish information that's come to light since we passed this resolution. The pedestrian path on the South Outer Roadway was first promised by the de Blasio administration in 2021. It wasn't until April 3rd, 2024, that the Department of Transportation presented to the Transportation Committee a plan to open the details of the plan to open up the South Outer Roadway to pedestrians. In September, we were notified, it was announced that it would be opened by summer 2024. And then in September, we were notified that it would be delayed until winter because there's a delay on the construction on the upper roadway. DOT initially intended to sync the opening of the South Outer Roadway to pedestrians with the construction on the upper roadway in order to mitigate traffic impact. And so there's a delay, they're not necessarily construction logistically wise linked to open together, but they, for traffic mitigation, DOT linked the openings together. The main reason for this to be open and the need for this path drives from the fact that the North Yard roadway today is used as a shared pedestrian path and bike, both directions bike path, and it has basically the length of the standard requirements for just the bike path. It's very, very crowded on that path. I use it primarily as a pedestrian, but I have biked over it. The conditions are very tight and dangerous. Hence the resolution. Since we passed this resolution on Monday, I have been in touch with DOT official, and they have relayed that they are unlikely to implement the pedestrian path, the South Outer Roadway pedestrian path until, regardless of this resolution, until the work on the upper roadway is completed, citing their concerns about traffic. But that said, I will personally still be voting for this resolution. I think it sends a important message to the Department of Transportation about the importance of this project moving forward, the importance of opening this path and the conditions on the outer roadway. And I hope it will encourage the Department of Transportation to consider and seek out alternatives to opening that path as soon as possible.
Marty?
I firmly agree, though we should, in the resolution, call it what the actual name is, though I don't call it that. It's the Edward Koch Christopher Bridge, and since it's, city document.
Sorry, did we have another? Larry?
There's also a statistic that didn't make it into the resolution, and that is in September, measured year over year, from last year to this year, there's been an increase in cyclist use of this shared path of approximately 20%. And I know personally that there are a lot of near misses as well as actual collisions that have resulted in injuries. And while these injuries aren't life-threatening as if one got struck by an automobile, if this pedestrian path was separated from the bicycles and unfortunately a few mopeds worked their way in, we would see far fewer injuries. The ultimate goal is to have a situation that's like at Manhattan Bridge, where cyclists and pedestrians are fully segregated on opposite north and south sides of the bridge. And so also it's come to my attention that on Sunday, there's going to be a demonstration, including a number of the affected elected representatives of districts around the bridge and advocates who want to see this will gather on the Queens side in park and walk across the bridge in solidarity. I guess our resolution, as it turns out.
Burrow?
Just wanted to add that I went out on the bridge and measured it at 9 foot 8 inches, and there's not enough room for cyclists to pass each other, so they have to go into the pedestrian space. So it's horrible for pedestrians and it's horrible for cyclists. It's, high risk for head-on collision with cyclists going at speed. So it's a really dangerous situation, and it's really inappropriate for the DOT to do that.
I just wanted to point out that the bridge is actually not in our district, it's part of CBA. So definitely the access to the bridge and the access to the, to this will be part of our district, especially the new access. But it is technically not a part of our district, and I thought it would be advisable if we did speak to CBA. I know Jason's been trying to do that, and unfortunately, this came out Monday night, and I don't think there's been a lot of time to do that, to actually. So Jason,
Yeah, I attempted to reach out to, the transportation committee leadership at CDA, virtually didn't hear back another time, for the meeting tonight. I would hope they would weigh in on this as well, and, yeah.
I guess the other thing is we have heard from the DOT that, if this was to open without that, additional roadway space, there would be a considerable amount of traffic back up. And unfortunately, that's probably more in CBA than CB6. So it is just one of those things that, it probably would be a good neighborly gesture to include them in any of our, in the resolution. So that's just a consideration that I think we're going to take. So that's really, oh, I'm sorry, there's someone had a hand up.
A member of the public,
Well, Dan's hand is raised.
Okay, and I just before that, I wanted to remind, members of the public that during this section of the meeting, we only recognize questions from members of the board. And Anne, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what DOT's rationale is for linking the completion of the work kind of upstairs with, you know, opening the lower roadway, the like, you know, the outer roadway. But they are using it for staging materials. I don't know if that's true, if that's what the reason is.
I think Jason has the answer.
Yeah, so they're not, construction logistically, the two projects are not linked. The reason that they were linked in terms of the opening dates, was, out of concern for further decreasing the capacity on the bridge. Given the construction on the upper level has cut off the entire upper level, the DOT didn't want to further reduce the capacity of the bridge until they reopened the upper level. So it's strictly about capacity, not about construction staging or anything of that nature.
All right, thanks, Jason.
Larry?
I'm not sure that's correct. Driving over the bridge, I believe one of the two upper roadways is available, so instead of 4 lanes, there are 2.
Okay, sorry.
So-
I thought.
It's half the capacity of the bridge?
Oh, the upper level.
Yeah, on the upper level, just the upper level. Do I have any additional questions? Concerns? Tanya?
If this is not part of our CB6, should we be voting on this? If CB8 is not weighing in on it?
Again, that's sort of the committee felt, the committee did discuss that particular issue. I'll let Jason respond.
This is my personal viewpoint, but, I think, DOT would likely factor that into any decision that they make, but, it would not make any decisions in a vacuum. So I would hope and encourage CBA to make a public position on the same matter. I think, we can only control what's within our district, and if we're entitled to make a recommendation, for what we want to see as CB6. I would hope CBA would do the same. I think it would obviously send a much stronger message if CBA also supported the plan. And I think it would influence DOT if they did not support this plan. So I think it makes sense personally for us to both separately take positions on this, and I don't think we need to necessarily coordinate on taking a position. I think it makes sense for us to give our viewpoints separately, my opinion.
I think Marty has had it.
Over the years, we've had many joint committees with the surrounding community boards, but we have also had independent resolutions in regards to items which would affect us that happened in, say, CB8, CB5, CB3. So doing this would not be unusual for us.
Larry?
I don't know this for a fact, but I'm under the impression that the Queens districts that are affected by this have already supported opening the south roadway for pedestrians. Jason, do you know otherwise?
I don't want to speak out of turn. I believe, I'm not positive what positions they've taken, but, I do know the city council, member on the Queens side has been vocally advocating, for the opening of this path. I'm not positive. I believe they've been supportive, but I haven't, they looked at the details.
One thing the DOT did point out is that, it won't affect Queens. The traffic backup will happen in Manhattan, not Queens. So it's a different.
Pedestrian path.
No, well, the traffic issue, which is what the DOT is concerned about, will happen on the Manhattan side of the bridge. It will not build up traffic on the Queens side of the bridge. So that's the DOT's position. Anyway, if there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and vote on the resolution. Please mark your ballot.
I have a very short report. I just want to make sure people are aware. During the meeting, we discussed water main project that's going to be taking place over the coming months on Irving Place. Details of that are still coming together, but that'll be happening on Irving Place soon.
Great. Okay, next we have youth and education, John DeRico.
Thank you. I'll keep this brief. We have a lot of great stuff in the works, including regarding student Omni cards, services for homeless students in public schools, and access to IESPs. We're also working on a presentation with the ACS regarding their new approach to prevention as opposed to intervention. We'll have more on that soon. And that's it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, housing and homelessness. Rich Mintz, who is chair, wasn't able to join us tonight, but there will be a committee meeting on October 21st. Public safety and sanitation, student estimate.
Because of the holidays, we did not meet this month, so I will not speak this month.
Okay, thank you. Health and environment, Alvi, Rosa.
So in our previous meeting, we discussed about the air quality issues in our district and the possibility of communicating health alerts through Link NYC. We also discussed the three main health issues in our district, which are cardiovascular, diabetes, and obesity. And we plan to do a webinar to inform our community and ways to address these health issues. We also discussed the possibility of setting up outside exercise equipment that would be free to anyone in our district. And last, we revisited the budget proposal for the intergenerational community center. And tomorrow we have 4 agenda topics. The first one is about the report from NYU Langone Health on emergency department trends and what community members can do if they see someone in distress. Second is presentation from the NYC Smoke Free and their reality check program. Third, a brief report from the CB6 representative to the Bellevue Hospital Community Advisory Board. And the last one, a discussion of health priorities in our district. And tomorrow's meeting will be conducted by Gara. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, elections, Marion Rump.
Oh. Can you save the best for last? Okay. I'm sure everyone read the elections report that was sent out last week. But in case 1 or 2 of you did not, I'm gonna read it out loud. For you. Actually, before I start reading, I just wanna say that, there were a couple of people who who did not make it on this list, but they were willing to sacrifice their schedule and, take on one of the roles if they remain vacant. And so I just, like, I'm not gonna give away your identities, but there were two of you, and I just want to say thank you. That's really kind that you all were willing to do that, for the board. Okay, CB6 Elections Committee met electronically on Zoom on September 27th. Nominations were received and the chair of the Elections Committee communicated with all candidates confirming their desire to hold office. The meeting was held in accordance with Article 3, Sections A and B of the CB6 bylaws. The Elections Committee reports the following nominees. Chair, Sandra McKee. First Vice Chair, John Keller. Second Vice Chair, Rupal Kakad. Second Vice Chair, Kate Trusso. Secretary, Justin Goldberg. Assistant Secretary, Jerry Weinstein. Assistant Secretary, Alec Militek. Treasurer, Livia Shrednick. Assistant Treasurer, B. Disman. At this full board meeting right now, members of the board may offer additional nominees from the floor, including themselves, but not including members of the Elections Committee. So please do not nominate Kevin O'Keefe, Ann on Zoom, or me. All nominees from the floor must confirm their acceptance of the nomination in person or immediately in writing. No nominations will be accepted after this opportunity given at this meeting. The election will take place at the November full board meeting. Are there any additional nominations? Nothing. Oh,
Move to close nominations.
that makes me so sad. I brought my pen, so I got it. Okay.
Feel free to step up.
I guess I'm done then. Yeah?
I think so.
That's so sad.
Oh, you're getting off easy now, but Marion was a great chair for this committee.
Okay, and just before we go on to do our old business, apparently many people have not submitted their ballots. I know I'm one of them, but please do fill out your ballot. If we have any board members, if you have any old or new business to say, please raise your hand. We have Marty. You need the mic, sir.
Not really. Today was Rick Edgar's birthday. We should all remember Rick as a great chair and a great member of the board.
He would have been 74.
And he has also was.
67, sorry.
He had done it, and I was thinking of him, yeah. I was thinking of Rick because he also was election committee chair for a few years, and so he went out there, you know.
Yeah. We miss him, Darren. Mary.
Please. Just really quickly, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and there are a lot of services available in the city for mainstream services and also culturally specific services for people with limited English proficiency or folks who just want to speak to someone who understands their culture and ethnicity and background. So if anyone needs it or knows people who need any kind of support, I'm happy to refer them to these organizations.
I think we're still with one other hand. Sure.
I'll just take a second. As our chair has mentioned, Livia and I are going to try and amplify Upward Game social media. So we're gonna ask a number of folks, like chairs of the committee, to start taking pictures when they have a phone about in their pocket. And to think about what one or two or three of their highlights, resolutions were for the year. And we're gonna try and do like Instagram stories for both new members, like Maya, and stalwarts that have been here for a bit. Thank you in advance.
Great. Are there any other new or old business? Let me go to, I believe next we have our second roll call. Oh, I'm sorry, moving
I'm sorry, this may be a little bit out of turn, but I very excitedly shared information about my organization and the virtual webinar next week. I forgot to mention, it is on October 17th at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Great, okay. All right, no other comments? We're into our second roll call.
Members, I will now call on you for the second roll call. If you have not submitted your ballot, please do so now. If you are unable to use the digital ballot, CD6 staff will ask you for your vote on each of tonight's resolutions. Majed Abdul Samad. Tanya Arias.
Present.
Kyle Thade. Neil Barkley.
Present.
Martin Barrett.
Present.
Elvie Barosa.
Present.
Jim Collins.
Here.
Jonathan Dorico.
Present.
Stuart Deser.
Present.
Beatrice Disman.
Absent.
Maya Donahue. Robert Fairbairn.
Absent.
Barack Friedman.
Present.
Jason Fromowitz.
Present.
Eric Goldberg.
Present.
Justin Goldberg. Gloria Hayes. Rabia Iqbal.
Present.
Each judge.
Present.
Rupal Kakad.
Present.
John Keller.
Present.
Nadeem Kalani.
Present.
Katie Londa. Sandra Leftoff. David Levy.
Yeah.
David Lowenstein. Anton Mulner. Sandra McKee.
Present.
Alec Militek.
Present.
Richard Mintz. Kevin O'Keefe.
Present.
Reshma Patel.
Present.
Stephen Perez.
Present.
Miriam Ralph.
Present.
Michael Ann Rowe.
Michael Ann, we need your ballot. Are you still with us?
Roberto Ruiz Melendez. Lawrence Shayer.
Present.
Ann Seligman.
Present.
Sandro Sharon. Livia Shrednick, present. Mubin Siddiqui. Letty Simon. Susan Steinberg. Mark Thompson.
Present.
Gabriel Terzo. James Vera.
Present.
Jerry Weinstein.
Present.
Sarah Whittington. Hader Zeddy.
Present.
Thank you. All right. Final call for ballots. If it's not in, we will move on to tallying the votes. Okay, well, moving on. Sorry,
Did you get mine?
we can double check, let's see.
Yes.
Michael Ann, final call. And, yes, we got yours. Okay. Going once, going twice. Okay, Michael Ann is left the building. Okay. The virtual building. Okay, the first reso, budget reso 1A, which is our budget request for fiscal year 2026, passes unanimously with 36 votes in favor. The next resolution is resolution 3A, which is the public toilet resolution, also 36 in favor, that is unanimous. Next resolution is 4A, the resolution for lights at St. Barton Park. It passes with 35 votes in favor, none opposed, no abstentions, and 1 not entitled. The next resolution is resolution 4B, regarding the resurfacing at St. Barton Park. 35 in favor, none opposed, no abstentions, 1 not entitled. The next resolution 4C regarding the pickleball court at Vincent Albano, 35 in favor, Zero opposed. Something just changed on here, folks. Well, I'll go with the original 35 in favor, whoever submitted just now. Zero opposed, one abstention, no not entitled. The next resolutions were bundled 5A, 5B, 5C, 5D, 5E, 5F. I will not read them out by name, but I'll tell you their individual tallies. 5A unanimous, 37. 5B unanimous, 37 in favor. 5C unanimous, 37 in favor. 5D 36 in favor, one opposed, no abstentions, no not entitled. 5E 37 in favor, unanimous. 5F 37 in favor, unanimous. Transportation 6A, that is the 5G Lincoln YC resolution, 31 in favor, 3 opposed, 3 abstentions, 0 not entitled. This passes. And then the final resolution is 6B on the Queensboro Bridge, 34 in favor, none opposed, 3 abstentions, 0 not entitled. It passes. All right, that is it. Thank you.
If there are no further objections, we will adjourn the meeting. Seeing no further